Hey, I'm Ashley. This is Life Beyond Locks, and today I am looking at a piece called Melanie by Uniwigs. I have to be honest, this piece was sent to me just on loan for a live that I did with Uniwigs. Every so often we get together and we do a live so that we can answer questions in real time and show you products in real time. Often they give me a choice of the things that I request to look at during these lives. So in DMs on Instagram, I get messages requesting, last time it was a wig or certain toppers in certain colors, and then Uniwigs sends them to me on loan. And then sometimes my reviews are things that they allow me to keep, and then I can cut them, I can style them, I can wash them, I can blow dry them, flat iron them, whatever. And then sometimes pieces are on loan. So this would be an example of a piece that I do have to return. Although I'm not gonna lie, they sent me several toppers for that live and I wanted to keep all of them. So I'm struggling with sending Melanie back, and I'll talk about why in just a few minutes when we get into it. So Melanie is a large sized topper. She's actually, I had to write it down. She's an 8.5 by 9, which is quite big. One of my preferences for toppers is a large base, and I've talked about that in some other videos, but the reason why is, one, it gives more coverage, and I do not like to blend in my bio hair, but number two, I just find it personally more comfortable to have the clips further down on my head rather than having something that's very small and then clipping in at this really sensitive area. You know, by having a larger cap size, the clips are going to be clipping further down on your head. So Melanie is really great for that. She's still really lightweight though, and she has other awesome features, like, for example, this really big parting area. It's 4.5 by 4.5 inches. So that means you can part in the middle. You can part far on the right, far on the left. It's a really generous parting space, which is great. It's all monofilament here. So that means this entire section is hand tied to give you a pretty realistic looking scalp, as you can see there. So as soon as I take my hand away, we lose that scalp color, but you can easily put in some scar tape or some powder or concealer to keep that consistent scalp look when it's on your head. Other features include a whole bunch of clips, which is amazing because this number of clips means that you can clip them all in, but you don't have to, you can rotate through. So one day you can put these 2 clips in on each side. The next day you could do like this one and this one. So you can kind of rotate through. So if clips do bother you, although I will say, like, these clips are fine. They're not really aggressive clips. That's one thing I've noticed from Uniwigs is that their clips they're fine to wear. Like, I shouldn't say comfortable because I don't find clips particularly comfortable, but that's going to be the case no matter what you do if you're wearing alternative hair. There are a lot of people who will disagree with me, but even the most comfortable luxury wigs, they're itchy for me. And even the most comfortable topper clips are still going to be topper clips. At the end of the day, nothing's going to be as comfortable as just your hair on its own, right? Okay, so she features this big parting area. The rest of the cap is constructed with wefts. So wefts are strips of hair that are sewn one by one along this cap to create some coverage at the back. So if I do separate it, it's hard to see in here because their wefts are small, which I think is really great. But if I get right in there, you can see the wefts. Okay, so we have large parting area, wefts all around the back, loads of clips. Super lightweight. The density is not particularly heavy, but this is a wavy piece and you can really amp up the curl in it. So because of that, the hair will probably look fuller than you would imagine, especially if you amp up the curls. Otherwise, the density is, I would say, a little bit on the lighter side. If you're looking for heavy coverage, you're going to want to go for one of their silk tops like Savannah. This one that I have is in 16-inch lengths. So you'll see how that looks on me at 5'3". They're always generous with their hair at Uniwigs. You never end up being shortchanged on the length. And this particular one is in the color Mousse Brown, which is one of my preferred colors because of the dimension. So you have the medium browns, but you also have some of those lighter dark blonde colors, I guess we'll call it. And that really helps to create dimension in your hair, but also help with your blending. So I love Mousse Brown. The other thing that I really love about Melanie, and I was looking on the website to see, is that I have her in the 16-inch length here, but she also comes available in 18 inches and 20 inches. So you really have options. She also comes in a number of colors. So that was something in my last couple of reviews. You know, I love Aura. I talked about how much I love Aura, and I'm really happy that I get to keep her, but she's in Truffle Brown, and my preferred color is Mousse Brown. Aura doesn't come in Mousse Brown currently. Now, I did give feedback to Uniwigs, and I told them how much you liked Aura, those of you who expressed interest in her or already had her, and how we'd like to see her in more colors. But for now, she only comes in a select few colors, whereas Melanie comes in a whole bunch of different colors, which is great. Okay, we're gonna try putting her on, and I'm gonna show you start to finish how I would put this wig on or topper wig on, and how I would blend it. So first I'm gonna have to do something with my hair. Now my hair has been up in a wig, well, really in a low pony, because it was in a wig all day. So it's a disaster. And I have these straight pieces here because I blend these side pieces out into my wig. So first I'm gonna have to decide what part am I gonna go with. Now I'm not gonna change the part on this piece because she is going back. So she's in a middle part situation. So I'm gonna do her, in theory, I should do her in a middle part situation. I'm thinking right now, I don't know if I want to though, because I have so little hair here. So usually I tell women who have very weak hairlines like mine, because I get messages all the time from women saying, I can't do it, I can't wear a topper, my hair is too thin. And I'm like, no, you really can, but you have to kind of change things up a bit. So one of the recommendations, one of the things that I recommend you change up is that you go for a side part if you're gonna do a topper and you have a really weak hairline. So now I'm just wondering if I should put Melanie on crooked or put her on in the center. Maybe I'll do both, and then you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So we'll start with a middle part. So the first thing I'm going to do to get ready is spray some of my own hair right now so I can straighten it a bit, because it's all kinked up from being in that low bun. As soon as I got out of the shower this morning, I just took a hair dryer, straightened her out as much as I could because I do have curly bio hair, and then I threw her into a low bun or ponytail, I guess, and then popped her inside my wig. Okay, so I'm prepping my hair. That's step one. So if you're putting on a straight topper and your hair is curly, you're gonna have to straighten your hair, which is what I did for almost 4 years. In this case, it's a wavy topper, so I'm gonna try to mimic that wave right now for the purposes of this. My hair is knotted. For the purposes of this demonstration. Okay. Now, in order to get the topper on, there are a couple different ways you can do it, but to me the easiest way is just I like to have the topper clips open in advance. Some people don't, but at least the first couple clips open. And I am not going to use this clip. I find any aggressive clip at the front is just a complete no-no for me and this super thin patch of hair. So I will not be using this. I would remove it. You can do a couple things. So you could use this if you have a substantial amount of hair and you're just using this to give fullness on top and you plan to wear this a little further back. You could use this one because it does definitely grip on. You could switch it out for a comb, or you could put nothing there. You could also put a piece of Velcro, piece of velvet. There are lots of options. So I've opened these two clips on this side. I'm going to swing it around. And so this is what I'm talking about. You have a couple different ways. So if you have a good amount of hair already, then you might want to wear your topper a little bit further back and really froof up this front part of your hair, sit your topper further back, and then have your own hair. Now this looks ridiculous because I don't have any hair at the front, but you can imagine that if you did have a lot of hair, you could sit this further back and you'd end up just with like a lot of fullness in your hair. A really good option if you're just looking at early thinning. The other way that you can wear this is right to the front and cover your own hairline completely. Now, does this look a little wiggy? Maybe, but you can change that a couple of ways. One is just adding curtain bangs. I promise it would make a huge difference. The other way is to cut bangs into your topper. So if you are comfortable with bangs, get someone, a stylist or yourself, if you're comfortable doing it, to cut bangs into your topper, and then you don't ever have to blend because it'll just look totally natural. You can sit it wherever you want. For this, I'm going to show you how I would blend it if I was actually to wear this out of the house for me, except I would never do it in the center, ever, 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 for reasons that I'm about to show you. Okay, so I've got it centered and I have my own little baby hairs here. Okay, so I've pulled my own hairs out and I'm working them through, but I have this transition area that is quite obvious. So the way that I can fix that is one of two ways. If you don't have hair fibers that I'm going to use in a second, you can use an eyeshadow palette, an eyeshadow brush, and just take a matching color and pat it on, right? But I'm not going to do that whole thing right now because I want to use fibers to show you how they look. The other thing you can do is get yourself some hair fibers. And these are, oh my goodness, I'm going to make a mess, but I want to show you. They're made of cotton, and they're just loose little pieces of cotton, which are now in the air. And they're dyed. Now, there are different kinds, so some use synthetic dyes. These ones are natural, so they're dyed with natural products and materials, and they're organic, which I highly recommend if you're going to go that route. And I'm just going to spray those fibers into that transition area. And what I do need, and didn't bring, is a nice poofy brush to brush away the excess off of my face. And then again, blend my own hair in. Now, does that look a little ridiculous? Yes. Yes, it does, but it's the only way that I can get this in a center part, which is why I sometimes opt for a wig or a lace front topper instead. Okay, I've moved it a little bit forward, and now I don't think it looks too bad. So if you're looking super closely, you'll see my wrinkles, but you'll also see that blend. But it is not so bad when I put the topper closer to the front. So I think I can get away with this. But a better way is, in my opinion, to go with a side part. So what I would do, this is around the area that I typically go with my toppers. On either side, it doesn't matter if it's left or right. Now, obviously, I'm not going to move the parting on this topper. And I can't quite see what I'm doing. Yeah. So move the part on your topper by just adding some water and parting it the way you would part your own hair if you wanted to change your own part. And now it's going to be even easier to conceal that area. So I'll go in again with those hair fibers. I have to say this nozzle on these hair fibers is it's not my favorite. It shoots them quite wide. I like the fibers, but I don't like the nozzle that they come with. If you're curious to know which company's nozzle I like the best, I guess I could do a video on that. Okay. That's a bit better. Good. I think that looks pretty natural now. So if I get nice and close, you'll barely see that transition line, right? So you can see, I think, the difference between a side part and the middle part in terms of concealing. I just feel like it's so much easier. And the reason why is because your focus is on this side part rather than on the very center of your head that is clearly sparse. It kind of the hair flopping over on the side disguises your ultra thin hairline. Now this topper at 16 inches is crazy enough because this is far longer than 16 inches in real life. They've given me probably about 19 inches of length. It's not even all getting in the camera. Is a little bit too long for my bio hair. So I have some videos talking about the measurements. So what you want to be doing is going for a topper that's about 1 inch to 2 inches longer than your bio hair. And then you won't end up with this difference that you see here. So by bringing, you don't want to go shorter because then you're going to end up with these thin little baby hairs of mine sticking out under all this thick hair. But like that is kind of ideal. Okay, so here's Melanie. So as I said, she comes wavy. She also comes straight. You have two options. Now the straight option is still going to dry sort of wavy, but the wavy will allow you to really work those curls. So if you do have curly hair or wavy hair, you're going to want to go for the wavy one because all that's going to be required is a spray bottle, spritz her up, or just leave her to hang dry after washing her or like flop her over the banister. And she's going to have beautiful natural waves and it's going to be effortless for styling. You don't need to use a flat iron. You don't need to use a curling wand to get curls. She'll just have it naturally like you see here, but more so. Like I know we could work this curl even more. So that's Melanie. She comes in a bunch of different colors, as I said, different lengths. And I just think that she's really pretty with this monofilament top, which I've done nothing to this because I'm returning it. But as I said, I would put scar tape underneath or I would put some eyeshadow or some concealer, some sort of powder in here to lighten that hairline and it would look even more natural. But this is a really lovely piece and as I said, I don't really want to send it back. I actually asked if I could keep her a bit longer so that I could give her a full review for you because it wasn't something that Uniwigs asked me to do. I just actually liked this piece so much when I saw her and put her on that I thought she deserved a quick little glance on my feed and in my content because she is a really good option and she's an affordable option, which you know I always love. So let me know if you like Melanie and if there are other pieces from Uniwigs toppers or wigs that you would like to see featured. I can try to get those on loan as well to give you a look before you make your purchases. Thank you so much for being here. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments or send me a direct message. I look forward to seeing you with the next review.